And salutations. Welcome to the Sunday night hanging. Well, right here on Sundays. I'm Ben, and please subscribe if you're new, and welcome back if you're returning. A PSA announcement right away. Unbelievable. Hold nothing but a Squire or lower for the rest of the night, please. Just walk away. I've been watching what you've been talking about, and he's had a very, very rough day regarding guitars. So I want to welcome back. I've got my good friend Charles Greene here tonight. We're going to be telling tales, and we're going to be talking about some modern stuff and some stuff back in the day, plus some projects, both flavors, involving last week's guest who subbed for tonight's guest because Charles has been a little under the weather recently, and fortunately, right after I got his message, I messaged Charles 75N. I said, "Can you help a fellow out and substitute tonight?" He says, Of course. Glad to do it."
That's because Charles is awesome.
Right?
He's awesome. I was cracking up. Quentin sent me that little pop-in he did. He sent me that on Messenger.
Right.
And I was laughing because I said, "Man, Charles is doing such a good job of being me that Quentin was confused." Just kidding. But anyway, Quentin, I love you. And Charles, you absolutely rock, brother. It's good seeing you guys. Happy Sunday, you guys. Love this channel.
Got a bunch of people in here. We got Hip Metalworks, Presley, California Customs. One of the co-hosts of Guitar Safari, starring Charles 75N and Seth from Presley, California Customs. Seth must be drinking all the coffee because it's 9 a.m. his time when they go live, and he's just wired. And I don't understand it. I don't know how a human can function at that time of day, that polite and energetic. And, yeah. And who else we got? We got Brother Tom. We got My Knees Hurt. We got Symmetry. Joe Hervey 84. Ferd Burfel. All Dave, All Night. Let's see. Lawrence Cash of Alaska. Blackjack Guitar. Who else did I see here? Zach Thongs here. What's up, Zach? Dan of New Jersey, of course. Dan. Ian's Guitar Shack. Jason Lindholm. Who else we got in here? There's good old Guitar Man 45. A rare thing happened this past week to Guitar Man 45. He actually went a full week without getting new gear.
No way.
Yeah, I don't know how it happened. I figured there must have been a postal strike or something, because that's the only way he's not getting gear. I don't understand. I don't.
He's got some of the best flipping gear, man. I absolutely love his whole vibe. When we're in the doing the Water Buffalo thing, I just gaze into his chat window and I look at the gear behind him, and I'm absolutely mesmerized. Really cool, bro. Really cool. It's good to see everybody. I wasn't shouting out to anybody in time this time. I'm just kind of waiting and letting Ben say hello.
I swear, Charles, the first 10 times we did one of those Buffalo meetings, right? We was talking about guitar. It doesn't matter what the guitar was, and then all of a sudden he just reached and, "Oh, you mean one of these?" "Oh, yes."
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
I spent the whole first meeting doing this. Whoa. And I lean back in and be like, "Whoa." And I just check it in. It was really awesome. I can't stop talking about it. I'm not going to. It's really good seeing all you guys. There's so many people out there.
Yeah.
In your chat.
Billy Baloney, Terry's 3Gs.
Excellent. It's good seeing all you guys, man.
Yeah.
And
I think it's my first Tony snuck in here. What's up, Tony?
Hey, Tony, right on, brother.
I was lurking during your show last night.
Guitar situation, bro. That sucks.
Yeah. I was lurking during the STP show last night, working on some stuff in the studio because I'm going to the studio myself this Friday. So I got to finish writing the piece of music before I can record it, Charles. That's kind of
that helps. It certainly helps. It's that whole fly by the seat of your pants, perspective.
I've got a 3-hour window booked on Friday, so I'm hoping to come out with maybe 2 little tidbits of music.
Well, look, we got to address this right off the bat. Richard Nagamitsu. I was looking forward to this show. I was actually last week looking forward to addressing the show, talking with you, We got a little show here coming up here that was supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So Distortion was coming to the Fillmore. The show's been canceled on the 2nd. Is when they were supposed to be here. I've been looking forward to that ever since it was announced. I personally have not heard, Richard, about a reschedule for it. So we're up in the air, but I was looking forward to meeting you a couple of days from now.
Right.
So we're going to have to put that on the back burner and just do it when they hit town, or pick another band, bro. Because I go to the Fillmore and to the Underground constantly.
Nice.
I don't live there quite like Christopher Sova does at his local club, you know, but
I don't have that much hearing left that I can do that as much as he does.
yeah, the machine shop is what I'm talking about. I swear he's got his own seat in the place. But yeah, man, it's good to be here with you guys. And Richard, we're gonna catch a show here, bro.
What's up, Eric Warrington?
What's going on, guys?
Some Colin Music in the house, Hobo Roadie, bunch of others.
Ray, what's up, brother? Right on, man. Right on. Go see everybody. Boom, boom.
Nice. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, so we got some. So you wanted to discuss some of the highlights. We've got a Robin Crosby story, folks.
Yeah. I'll say that for later. I'll see that one for
John
later.
5 and Motley Crue, which I'll be honest, I haven't really heard anything since the last time we talked about it. So I'm curious what's happening.
Yeah. I've got some guitar stuff to show you guys, and Charles 75N in real time is getting the info on it, just like always. I sent him a message earlier laughing about it. Yeah. I've had some changes. You know, let me talk about my guitar situation right now, just to kind of get that out of the way. If that's okay, Ben, is that cool? Is that cool?
Just before, I was going to say, Richard says apparently X is playing next month.
What day?
Yeah.
I'll check it out and see, Richard.
Yeah, he says, how about X next month? Okay, so there we are.
Excellent.
We'll put a pin in that. Awesome.
Cool. Very cool. You know, just as a little side note, on the show the other night, we were talking about it. I'm a big WVH fan.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
What's up,
big
Speaker?
Van Halen fan in general. You guys might know that about me. I know a lot of you guys are. He's coming to Virginia. It's about to close. I think it's Richmond. Richmond, Virginia is the closest. He's going to be here. Well, that's more than 3 hours from me.
I was going to say, that's a bit of a drive. That's yeah.
Well, it's not too far to go, but I'm really disappointed in the fact that WVH doesn't have anything in the Carolinas.
Yeah, that's odd.
I said it on a show last night. Van Halen has a hit. Not that he needs to emulate his father, but his fan base is perpetuated. A lot of his fan base comes from his Van Halen association, and he carried a huge fan base right from the band Van Halen into his world. And so the fact that they're not opening or closing this tour as a staple is somewhere near the Carolinas, or at least in the Carolinas, that's Van Halen history. That if you go back and look at all the tours for Van Halen, it was a normal reoccurring thing every year. Every
North Carolina is becoming one of the more populated states in the Union.
Yes, I'm amazed that they're not coming here. I'm amazed.
Not that I binge watched a bunch of geography videos recently, and I was like, oh, did not know that. So yes.
Well, the thing about it is this is 10 days from now. This is a little more than it's a long week away. They're going to be up in Virginia, and we could catch a show, and it's on a Monday, and I will have to flip. I haven't even spoken to Tony about this. You guys might notice I do this shit a lot. I'm going to have to completely take my whole world and flip it upside down, because I'm going to have work is crazy right now, and Monday is a very important day. So it couldn't be on a worse day. It couldn't be on a worst possible day for me. So I'm trying to work that out right now, Tony. I'm trying to work it out and see if we can make that happen. Now, there's another tour coming up. They're saying, Wolfgang's going to be on, WBH will be on a tour. And with Nita Strauss.
Okay.
And that's coming up, but I'm not really sure about the the venues, and I'm not sure if they're going to add some to that. So I'm in the back of my mind, I'm just praying, hoping that they'll just add something to the Carolinas here very quickly, so we don't have to alter our lives to go and see WBH.
Yeah, like
I really
a lot of different sized venues in different sized towns to fill basically every tour.
Yeah, well, come hell or high water, we're going to go see WBH. I mean, we're going to do it. So I just hope it's not a big hassle. I want it to be as enjoyable as possible so we can just mainly focus on the event, you know? Yeah. But anyway, let me, you want me to go ahead and show that guitar stuff? Is that cool?
Sure.
Excellent.
I like guitar stuff.
So Locke Custom Guitars, Chris Locke, he makes just.
Thanks, James.
He manufactures. He's not a builder. Well, I imagine he might delve into building, but he's a manufacturer. That's what he does. He CNCs out,
and he's pretty much the industry standard. If you want to get if you're doing a stripe-based project, we'll say of any kind at this point, you know, pretty much any kind. I don't know if he does the star body yet per se, but pretty much you can. Like, especially if you want to do a super strat style, whether it be Frankie all the way up to the 5150 and the Bumblebees and the Rasta guitar and all those, between him and Donnie Ward with the necks, the two of them together, there's your foundation. Here's your foundation.
And that is exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly. I don't
like to brag, Charles, but I kind of know my little VH isms.
Dude, you know, that kind of information, that need to know thing is priceless in this community. Starting out with a neck and a body that are correct is like absolutely crucial in an end result. Okay. It just is. And you would talk about necks, talk about guitar necks. You guys remember the Hot for Teacher build? I had a Hot for Teacher build. Neil built me a Hot for Teacher. It was a very nice build. I did have to I had to reset the guitar up for my standards. I've taken that guitar completely apart and put it back together 5 times. Biggest problem that I had with the guitar was that the body came from Chris Locke, but the neck came from an aftermarket supplier. Now, it's not a horrible neck, not a piece of crap neck at all. But in resetting the guitar up and going through the, you know, getting it set up correctly for me, I kept hitting little brick walls with the neck. I'm just going to tell the straight up story, you guys, so you hear it straight up here. And I couldn't get the action where I wanted it and get it to play and ring out without fret buzzing in specific areas. I was struggling with it. So I know how to beam necks. I know how to radius necks. I know all of that. I'm actually got to the point where I've done it on about 9 guitars now. And I'm confident that I can come out with, for myself, decent results to where I'm very happy. Let's put it that way. After I do it another 8 or 10 times, I'll be pretty damn good at it. But I'm at a point right now where for myself, I can do it, and I'm very confident in my end result of my work. And so I chose to fix the neck on my Hot for Teacher. I went ahead and got the neck off. I taped the whole thing up, and I re-leveled. I'm just going to cut I re-leveled the frets on the neck and redressed every one of them, and basically just redid the neck. And my results were pretty good. They were.
I was going to say, because if you want that super fast setup, which is basically half a factory spec, which is what I like, half a factory spec, we'll call it. Like if factory action is, well, they say 5/64ths, we'll say, you want 2.5. Like you want to go as low as possible without buzzing out. Like say, which is about 2.5, which is about a millimeter.
Bend. Got to still be able to bend.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. And to do that, everything has to be exact, like precision. That's why you use
and we're
Floyd
talking about
Rose.
finite measurements here, and finite.
Exactly.
What we call
Floyd Rose,
relief.
very finite measurements. Your
Yeah.
frets have to be absolutely perfect, because if a fret is up, a couple thousandths of an inch, well, you've lost half your action.
That's
like
right.
you've lost,
right.
or not half, but a considerable amount. Yeah, I totally get it.
And the guitar's not functioning like it's supposed to, or
Right.
like it could. It certainly could. Ignorance is bliss. If you don't realize that your guitar could perform better, wonderful. That's great.
Mhm.
However, so anyway, I had marked results trying to fix the neck, but it is impossible to make what essentially was under $100 guitar neck. It's under $100. Okay. Play like a $300 or $400 guitar neck.
Right.
It's impossible. Okay. It just doesn't, you can't do it. I couldn't do it. Let's put it that way. I couldn't do it. And so I started reaching out. I reached out to Chris. I let him know what my quandary was. Here's my situation. And he very simply said to me, he said, look, I don't ever recommend, if you're not planning to, buying just a neck. If you're going to do a body and a neck, get them both together. Let me do them together. That way they are, brother, sister. That's it.
Right.
Married.
And that's the thing. He mates that stuff before it goes out the door, which is a rare occasion, because, let's say you order a body and neck through Wormouth. They're going to pick a body and a neck out of a bin, basically. Yeah. They're not going to, these are that's a sweet one. Let's send that off.
No. Yeah. Well, he, now these neck, now if you're like, for instance, we're talking about the Hot for Teacher. I'm talking about just getting a neck at that point, and I ordered it.
Unbelievable. Are you using GHS boomers?
I didn't really heed what he said at that point, because I already have the body and I'm just trying to fix my guitar, And so, and these things they're set on a jig, and they're jigged out. If you order two from him and you hold them up like this, I swear to God, they look the same, other than maybe some, different grain or whatever in the wood.
Yeah.
They are identical.
What's up, Scott?
And so I ordered the neck, and I called him up and I said, you know what? I got this thing I'm doing, and with Charles, with the guitar wrap. And I thought about it, and I said to myself, well, maybe I'll just hold off on the Hot for Teacher and get a Hot for Teacher body, because I want a Kramer Beretta. I keep saying Hot for Teacher. I want a Kramer Beretta with a cocked humbucker. So a Hot for Teacher style body. It's a Kramer Beretta. I want a Kramer Beretta is what I'm trying to get. I using the word Hot for Teacher just for the one build that I had done. And to make a long story short, he says, no problem, Charles. He says, you know what? He says, I'm glad you said that. I'm just about done with the neck you ordered. He says, why don't I go ahead and if you'll just, go ahead and make the order, I'll get it out to you at the same time. It's about 3 weeks till I'm done with your neck, and I'll ship you the body at the same time. And so my plan switched. This was like 2.5 weeks ago. Switched, and I was going to send the neck and body to Charles to have him do a fabric wrap on that body and the headstock. Okay. So the neck and body come. Okay. And I unbox, I get the neck, I get the body. This is a spec for a Floyd Rose. Okay. You can get these from Chris. You can order them for a standard, like a V-trim, which is what they normally come as. But this one here is routed for a Floyd. It comes in various woods. This is a basswood body.
Right.
And it's really nice and super clean and awesome. Okay. This is what I was planning to send to Charles. But as I started thinking about it, where all of the open areas are, and it's not so much about the Floyd cavity as it is on the front of the guitar, all of these open points, and especially around the pickup where the fiberglass, where the clear epoxy is going to come up with the fabric, that's going to possibly not look as clean as it does when you do these on a guitar that have pickup rings.
Right. Because you can cover up a lot with the pickup ring, which is nice.
But then again, the reason I really love this guitar for that is because it has only one pickup. It's got this open wood area and this open wood here, and it's going to show off the design of the fabric. Right. So I've been kind of working that out, figuring it out. But in the interim of doing that, I got the neck, and I was on a show, ironically, Halenville Live. Love you guys, by the way. A little shout out to Tony, Brennan, and Ed.
Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. on Fruitcake Tony's channel.
Guys. Donnie Ward was on. And before the green room, he says to me, he says, Charles, he says, don't mind me asking, but did you just get a Hot for Teacher neck from Chris? And I said, yeah, I did. And he goes, yeah, I just built it for you. I said, what? Because I didn't know that Donnie did necks with Chris. I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. One of the last shows I did with Dave Nedstall, we had them both on, and when they had just started collaborating.
Went right over my head that I knew they, okay, that might not be actually a true statement. Let me rephrase that. I knew they had worked together in the past from the shows with Dave and everything, but I did not realize that Donnie was getting outsourced necks right now and working on them and doing them.
Because it was just one of those, like, Chris does the best bodies, Donnie does the best necks. Why don't we just basically sell them together, partner up, because people are building these kits? Like, and I was just like, makes sense.
I look at Donnie, he's in the green, so I'm looking at him like you and I are looking at each other, and I said, Donnie, you telling me you just built my neck on my guitar? And he's like, yeah. And I said, I got a neck built by Donnie Ward. And he's like, yeah, I was flipping out. I thought that was the greatest thing to slice flipping bread, man. So I get the neck, and I start comparing it to the, now there's a drawback here, guys. My other neck is signed by Lori Hot for Teacher Tucker. Mm-hmm. And it is incredibly sentimental to me. I cherish that freaking thing. So I'm at a quandary about it. It's kind of heartbreaking for me. I no longer have a Hot for Teacher signed by Lori Tucker. I have a neck signed by Lori Tucker. But for playability and quality and for just simply playing guitar, I had to do it. And so I was sitting here with the Hot for Teacher body, and I had this neck, and this is a Donnie Ward neck. It's a hockey stick, and I haven't done anything to it, you guys. I haven't painted it. I want you to see the work he does where he plugs it, and he turns it from a Strat into a hockey stick.
He does it the right way, because that's the way they did it back in the day.
It's custom as shit. Let me show you the back. Yeah. And when I say that the experience of getting this neck, it's a game changer. Mm-hmm. It sets a standard.
Those necks are ridiculous, Charles.
And so I at morbid curiosity, I grabbed it and I stuck it into this guitar, and it bolted up just as sweetly, just like it was made for it. And I strung it up, I intonated it. This neck ain't coming off this guitar, guys. It ain't never coming off it. I may or may not do anything to the headstock on this guitar.
Right. Just because it's placed so well as is. You don't want to take it apart.
Perfect. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I kind of like showing off the work Donnie does.
I kind of like it that way too.
I'm
not gonna lie. That's something Ed would have done, right? Ed would have had a guitar like that.
Thank you.
And at most, he would have thrown a Kramer logo on it, but you'd be like, that's no Kramer neck, but he does that just because you get paid by Kramer.
And it's not a Kramer.
Yeah.
It's not. It's made by an aftermarket company, custom. It is a custom built guitar, but it's, so this is just an affinity for Edward Van Halen. It's an affinity for my favorite video by Van Halen, period. And I'm proud to show it off. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Donnie and Chris. My God, you guys, this thing is fucking spot on.
Richard asked, is there any finish on that neck?
No, not yet. I haven't done anything to it, but I got to put something on it. I got to do something. I got to put a little something, just something.
Do you?
Yeah, on the headstock. I'm not worried about the back of the neck. I've already got and you can see look at the frets. I've already got the frets starting to discolor. See it?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
play
yeah,
the
yeah.
shit out of this
Yeah,
thing. See it?
yeah, you're
So
playing all
I'm
the
not
crap.
worried about that, but I am worried about this bare wood up here.
Yeah,
on
the headstock is going to start looking like shite eventually, right? Because it'll kind of gray out. You know what? I would just tape off the neck, and just just a little satin clear, just to seal it,
Okay.
You know,
And that's doable.
and you don't have to take the neck off, but I would take out the tuners and stuff like that, but leave the neck on the guitar.
Yeah, you always got to do that. Always.
Right?
The prep is the work, you guys.
Yeah,
I mean,
but that's the thing. Wouldn't have to take the neck off the guitar in order to do that, just to shoot a little clear on the end.
Yeah. And that's so that's where I am with that. Now, what am I going to send Charles? Right? What am I going to send Charles? Right? So I had a couple of thoughts. Now, I'm not trying to necessarily pick a guitar that Mick, what a guitar that he was known for playing necessarily. He's been known for playing a lot of different guitars. He has hundreds of custom-made S-type Strat-looking guitars that are just custom as shit, that aren't made by Fender. They look like Fender Strats, and they look like they're 50 years old.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's the Les Paul thing. I've seen him with Schecters. I've seen him with Jacksons. I've seen him play Kramers. I've seen him play
Beat Rich.
Thank you. So I'm not really so worried about that as I am a body that is cosmetically cool for Charles to do his best work. So, a couple of choices.
Unbelievable says send Charles a Warlock.
I thought about the Warlock because I saw he's doing one now.
Yep.
But my Warlock is a 1984 NJ series
That's not the Warlock
that I got from that crazy dude with the house where he turned it into a guitar fab shop.
Yeah.
Story.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know it's
the bags of the parts.
The Kaler's an 84, early 80s Kaler.
Right.
So and the guitar is spec'd out properly. All of the electronics and everything are period. So I'm not going to send it to him, but I thought about it really seriously, Richard. I really did.
Richard, that's mean. He says a Mockingbird. Oh, that's even meaner than a Warlock.
Oh, I love it, dude. I love it. And the one that Charles is working on right now is going to look fantastic, man.
Mm-hmm.
I love Warlock. Anyway, so we're talking Omen 6 Schecter. This one.
Okay.
It is a hardtail dual humbucker. It's got pickup rings.
Yeah.
Obviously,
And the nice thing about the string through like that has no tailpiece. So that frees up a lot of real estate. And like you lose some real estate with the neck pickup, but you make up with it not having a tailpiece.
That's right. And I don't need the neck headstock done because it's already black and it looks cool. It's already cool. It's a Schecter. I love Schecter guitars. They play and drop automatically. They're made for playing and drop.
And I like the fact it's an arch top, and Charles hasn't done an arch top.
And it's got this really cool carved bed. They're so great at And the guitar itself is not a, this is a modest guitar, but it's incredibly well built. And it's Schecter doesn't make shit. They make really good gear. So this has got lots of great lines and curves, and it is an arch top, like you said. So I'm really serious on this one. I'm thinking this would be the guitar to send Charles. However,
Terry says, I had one of those and I refinned it. Terry, is there a guitar you haven't refinished?
I love Terry, man.
I know. I love it.
So, but variety, spice of life.
Yep.
This is a Jackson Dinky.
Okay.
That is, again, it's a modest guitar, but it is an incredibly well-made guitar.
Yes, they are.
And with tuner upgrades, a new nut, and just a couple of little things done to it. This thing, and right now, this guitar kicks ass. It rocks. It sets up right now beautifully at low action.
That's JS11?
Yes. Yes.
I know it. Yeah, I had the same one in metallic blue, and I was shocked at how much guitar you get for how little money.
This would be a really good guitar, although, because it's got pickup rings on the front. The front is very similar. This guitar, as far as it being an arch top and everything, although it's not as chunky and not as
Actually, no, that's not a JS11.
it
That's
weighs
a
a
JS
full pound.
12.
A full pound, maybe a
22.
pound and a half less than the Schecter.
Yep.
But it plays super fast. It's, Jackson necks are awesome. It's a compound radius, 12 to 14 inch. Love the neck, love everything about it. But it has the back has this huge big plate, and then it has a back plate. Obviously don't have the back plate on, and I probably wouldn't want to. So this was a choice. And I'll talk with Charles. You and I are obviously going to talk after the fact about this before I ship you anything, and I'm going to get your
Charles
okay in all of this.
Charles needs to leave Chris alone. Chris has had a bad day. He's venting. Just let him be. Charles, just eat it. JS22. Thank you, Joe. That's what it is.
So this would be really nice, and I'm okay with either one. It has a V-trim in it, and the V-trim in this guitar is actually half-ass decent. I would replace it with a Vega trim from Effutone. Is what I'd replace it with, because it will get upgrades. Well, if we're going to go ahead and do that with the guitar, we're going to go ahead and upgrade it and mod it, because it's fully stock right now.
Yep.
And that would be fun.
I want to see Charles deal with an arch top, because it is a compound radius thing, and because he can stretch the fabric in certain ways. So
the fabric is very forgiving. As far, we're talking about cotton. We're talking about t-shirts. Okay, so now. Let's say we do the Schecter. Okay. So I've been waiting. The reason I was going to ship something out, I would have been fully prepared to this last, even 10 days ago. But I've been waiting on a couple of shirts that I've ordered, and I only have one right now. But I was thinking, the problem I was having was, when you get a concert t-shirt, whether it's a small, a medium, a large, a 2X, the actual imprint on the shirt doesn't really change, and it doesn't change in size.
Doesn't change at all. No.
Unless you order specifically off of a children's menu. So I went on and I ordered this is a small petite black Motley Crue girls. Okay. So I'm thinking of wrapping with that, either front or back. And then I have actually a toddler's onesie, but it's for like a 18 to 22 month toddler. And it's got the Dr. Feelgood, the logo with the snake, the medical symbol with the snake on it. And it's one half the size of what you're used to seeing on the concert t-shirt. And so that will fit really nicely into a really, he can pick and choose. And because it's I believe we'll be able to cut the back down, and it'll be large enough for him to wrap and do at least one side with it. You should have plenty. So based on my math, you should be good, but we're obviously going to talk about it and figure that out. But that, and then I've got another shirt coming that is just really simply, it's a Dr. Feelgood tour t-shirt. And we'll see how that also looks. And all that should happen here in the next few days. Everything should get here. And then I'll ship this stuff out and we'll get rock and rolling. But I'm waiting now because he's got a couple of orders in front of me because he's popular.
We've been talking about it. One, he needs to ship out Unbelievable's telly. It's got to go out this week, Charles. You promised this week it's getting shipped out. He's doing a Strat type guitar that we can't talk about. Well, we talk about it because for a coworker, and he isn't sub to me, I'm sure. So you got the what's up, Mark Taft? And then he's got the Warlock on the go. He's got an Explorer there. He's got numerous guitars of his own that he hasn't even, I'm pretty sure. I think he's sitting on like 3 or 4 telly bodies right now that he can do up. I think. I don't know. He's got a lot of guitars, is what I'm saying.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
and he recently picked up his that Univox, which is like a cross between a Gretsch and a 335 hollow body. That thing, ooh, that's a nice guitar. So he's trying to find some time to play that thing too.
That is awesome. Hey, and a shout out to Ryan, all the guys over at OU812 channel.
Yes.
Congratulations. 1,000 subs. You guys rock. Tony over at our channel, we're really close. We're getting there. I can't wait. It's going to be really cool. It's been a fun ride, and it's really cool getting to see that happen for you guys, Ryan. Very cool. All you guys, Trevor and R2 and John, you guys rock. I love you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about a little Motley Crue? A
little
John 5, maybe?
Yeah, what's up with that? What's going on? What are you hearing? What's happening?
Okay, so last time we were visiting this subject, we were talking about, Mick's recent voicing of his opinion, things that were going on.
Yep.
The music, basically, Nicky's not hitting a note, Tommy's not playing, backing tracks are playing.
Yeah. Backing tracks everywhere, apparently. Apparently, yeah. The only person that's actually performing in and out every night was Vince.
Well, in the stuff we've seen it. Yeah. I've seen it. I've looked and watched and heard a bass note actually hit and seen Nicky with no finger on a string plucking the damn note. Okay. I saw it. Now, that being said, I watched a very recent interview with John 5, and I've been really interested in him because I'm really comfortable with him stepping in for Mick. Ironically, I think he is one of the classest acts in rock as a guitar player, performer. He has his own brand. 17 years with Rob Zombie. And during that entire time, he's a free agent. He's been producing all kinds of solo stuff, work on hundreds and hundreds of projects. And he's got his own personal gig with the Creatures, which he just does faithfully. I think he is a chameleon, and I'm fascinated by the guy. Fascinated. He plays Mick Mars riffs just like off the studio albums. I challenge you guys to go and watch anything that they're doing now, and you listen to the solos he's playing, and they are Mick Mars. And what I found really nice is
I always thought he was very much a chameleon player in that respect.
Well,
and not just from watching his noodling videos. He's like, here's a Kiss riff, and it sounds like he's freely playing it. Or here's a Pantera riff, and it sounds like Dimebag playing it. Like how?
Well,
he's very much a student.
His explanation for it is his love for Motley Crue, and he's so sincere and such a nice guy, and I believe every flipping word he says in his interview. But there are a couple of things that I noticed, and I'd like to, talk about them and share them with you guys. I've heard supplementing background noise in Motley Crue since 84, 83, 84. And I know that there's been stuff going on. I know it. There's only 3 freaking instruments up there, and they sound fatter than they normally are. And when they incorporated Nasty Habits, those girls cannot sing and dance for 2 hours the way they do. They're human. If they walked up to a microphone and were trying to actually sing while they're doing all the dancing, you would hear nothing but huffing and puffing and taking breaths, and it would not be conducive to a production of a show. It would not work. And so here's what John said. He's talked to Eddie Trunk, very recent, just a couple of weeks. And this is exactly what he called it. He calls it technology. And he made this statement. He said, 100% Nicky's playing bass. And I knew Tommy was playing drums the whole time. There's just a quick little thing about this. Tommy likes to have a hi-hat count in.
Right.
He's been doing that for years. You'll hear the hi-hat, but you won't see him hitting shit.
Yeah.
For 4 beats. Now, John 5 doesn't dig the hi-hat. He wants to hear a number. He wants to hear an audible voice. 1, 2, 3, 4. He wants to hear it counted out, but he's not getting it because Tommy wants a hi-hat. So
Right.
Especially on the European and the South American leg of the, what they're finished out without Mick, that's how it is. So the rumors of Tommy not playing drums are that's a farce because he is a powerhouse. He's kicking it just as.
I was going to say, at worst, he's playing to a click.
Oh, he's definitely playing to a click. They're all.
Which you would have to, because if you have other backing tracks, you have to be playing to a click.
You have to be, and it's all for. And John actually goes into the explanation of that, but he calls out technology, and it's interesting what's involved in that technology. You got backing vocals. You've got outros and intros to songs, which can be anything. It can be organ, it could be guitar, it could be choir singing, it could be anything. And Motley Crue has a lot of intro, outro stuff going on in their live shows now, a lot of it, and a lot of smoke and mirrors going off. It's like a carnival. It's a stage show. It's morphed into something really huge and big, right?
Sure.
It also includes things that he talked about were like the count-in with the hi-hat that I'd mentioned. And things like background sounds like horns and sirens and shit like that. That's all going to be what he calls technology. But he swears that the three guys playing, and he even said, I wish I had a backup guitar. I wish to hell I could have someone playing some rhythm behind my music with Motley Crue, because he's talking about the new music. They've got a handful of songs that they finished. He says they are hard, kick-ass heavy, melt your face bad ass. That's a quote, okay, from John 5. They don't have a lot of it, but they have material that they actually have finished, a handful of finished songs. Well, finished, 98% finished, 98%.
Right.
And so that means that Motley Crue with John 5 is producing new music. And John 5 is, as far as anything he's doing out of respect with old Motley Crue music, playing Mick Mar riffs, he's going to continue to play those things just like the studio album and pay all that respect to Mick. He loves Mick.
Right.
He loves Mick. They've been friends a long time. But as far as the new music, he said his new lead and the work that he's putting into these songs with Nikki, and he speaks about Nikki a lot. They're very good friends. I'll talk about that in a minute. Is just, you heard what I said, face melting badass. And so it is hard. It is heavy. It is viciously heavy. I think he also said the word vicious. So I'm anticipating the new music from Motley Crue. I hope.
I have a feeling you're going to hear something that's going to be heavily edited, produced, by modern standards, which I get. You're sort of like the way a horror movie now, it's not so much the cinematography as much the editing.
You're absolutely right. Yes.
Lots of fast edits, boom, boom, boom. And I think you're going to hear that. It's going to be a lot of boom, a lot of smoke and mirrors in the music, like big production. Yeah.
Yes.
What's up, Zach? Tom?
What's going on, guys? So he kind of tried to clear that up.
Yeah.
And
but I think they're contractually obligated to say, yes, we're all playing instruments live on stage.
Yeah. Well, he couldn't elaborate on any of the legal battle.
Yeah.
And it's going to go on for a very long time. I've said it before, as far as Mick Mars, I want him to grab that album that he's had finished and do whatever he wants to do with it, but put it out there and let's hear it and start making new music. He's perfect. He's got his own studio. He's perfectly capable of producing music for us. And it's over. According to what Mick said very recently, and I'm talking within the last week, it's over.
I believe there was a settlement buyout, whatever you want to call it. Mick did take some money, and Which, whatever, and I get that because, if he has bills now and that's why he's like, I don't feel like being in court for 3 years over this. I'll just take a settlement and walk away. Which again, go into a studio, let's say, he's feeling like absolute garbage 90% of the time. But if the studio is handy and you can, I'm feeling good for an hour today. He can sit there, play some parts, build the rest of the song around,
And he has an army of world-class rockers ready to jump on and do whatever the hell he wants to do. So the world is his oyster at this point. And I, obviously wish him long life and the best, man. I want him to kick out music he wants to make, because that's what he wants to do. He wants to rock. He wants to play music. And as far as why he's separated from those boys right now, I honestly don't understand it. I'm tired of trying to wrap my head around it. And back to John 5. The reason John 5 is so tight with Motley Crue is because he's been just super tight friends with Nicky for 2 decades. Quite literally. He's worked on, good God, he's worked on multiple projects over the years. He worked on stuff with 6 a.m.
Well, John's a professional.
Well, he did. There was the stuff with Meatloaf. What's it called? Monsters Blues or something like that. He did L.A. Rats. He did The Dirt. He worked on that.
Right.
He was Nikki Sixx's fucking best man at his wedding. Why wasn't Mick his fucking best man? Because he should have been. Okay. I'm just, as I sit back and look at it, I'm Nicky is very comfortable with John 5. Yeah. And it sort of is just inevitable.
Butt cheeks?
He also talked about how he broke it to Rob Zombie, that he was going with Motley Crue. And Rob just looked at him. He said, now it's funny, Rob Zombie, for those of you who don't realize this, for the better part of a decade, Ozzy Osbourne stole, poached, you can use whatever word you want, Rob Zombie's band. Okay. He did it multiple times, and it's kind of a joke. And so Rob actually made a joke to John saying, so now Motley Crue's poaching my fucking band now. But they are very, it was cool. Rob understood. How could he not answer that call from Nicky? The way that he said that Nicky presented it to him was,
there's only a handful of A-list rock gigs out there.
Yeah.
Like at this point, you're looking at what? Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Foo Fighters, because I'll say rock/hard rock. And that's basically it. That's it for like arena, and Metallica. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, last time I checked, Metallica, they're pretty fucking solid in the guitar department. They're not looking for anybody, right? Yeah. Unless James starts skateboarding again. Don't. Foo Fighters, they already got 3 guitar players. They don't need a 4th.
No.
So you're out of luck there. GNR, they're a corporate machine. They're doing their thing, Yep. You're not getting a gig there. So, Def Leppard, nope, they're pretty solid. So, what's left?
Well, interesting. Graphite Guitars, he also made a statement. He's still doing Creatures. He's not going to stop. He's got stuff he's going to do this year. And that is still his, his heart is into that 100%, and Motley Crue understands. So the John 5 fans out there are still going to get their solo John 5 stuff that they love. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get to hear.
That's what I'm saying. It's a paycheck with at least an extra 0 compared to any other rock gig, like Alice Cooper, he's out there playing all the time. He ain't headlining arena shows. He's playing casinos, Let's just say, you go to an arena, that's an extra 0, even as a sideman, just because everything is up 10 times bigger,
That's right.
Just the way it is.
That's right.
There's not a lot of those gigs out there. And if you want to make a living playing guitar, you take the gig that pays the money.
That's right. That is absolutely correct. So anyway, that's about it for the Motley Crue rant, you guys. I'm still wishing Mick all the best. I want him to live forever, and I just really want to hear his solo work. I mean, I really want to hear his solo work. He's such an incredible guitar player. He's still got massive chops. And whatever, the excuses are between him and the boys, I just want him to be happy and for the drama to finally maybe just stop. It would be nice. Nice, Yeah. They're planning a tour this next year. Vince said that they're going to tour this next year. So
Nice.
We'll go check them out. We'll see a John 5 Motley Crue, maybe some new music. It'll be awesome. I actually can't wait for you. It's going to be really cool.
Boner Jams.
Boner, what's going on, my man? You are awesome.
What's up, brother, man?
Absolutely awesome.
We got half of the Under the Bus network in here. They're on
very
Wednesday
cool.
Nights.
Very cool, man.
Hump Day. Go figure. Boner Jams on Hump Day. As it should be.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, this community. I swear to God, man. You guys are all right.
Yep.
Oh, I said it's talking about Dawkins. I said something. Do you guys see the George Lynch? It just came up. I don't have all the details, but he does about a 48-minute, 50-minute deal here playing.
Yeah, I saw something that was like, here's my whole career in a set, basically.
Yes, and it's really, really good. It's really good. It's amazing to me. He changed his style more than a decade ago and like introverted and got just into himself and guitar, and what's come out of it is just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to go see George. Anytime he gets around here, we're going to see him, period. And the other thing I was thinking about the other day, John Sykes, man, as time just keeps going on and on and on, as he keeps getting older and older and older.
Yep.
I don't know why it is. I know he's wealthy. He's an entrepreneur, developer. He owns a lot of real estate, apartments, things like that. He doesn't need to do it for the money, but I would love to see John Sykes come out and just do something. How cool would it be to go to the Fillmore and see John Sykes play with Blue Murder? Just redo Blue Murder, come back out and do it and just start touring for it. I hope that happens. That's like my Christmas list my Halloween wish list is for John Sykes to come out and actually do something. Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. Hey, Ed, what's going on, brother? It's good to see you, man.
What's happening? Nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
So you have an interesting story for us this evening.
Yeah. So
a personal story, if you will.
Yeah. So I tell you guys time to time I'll share maybe a Rat story, a Motley Crue story. I'll share a Robin Crosby story with you guys tonight.
Which are my favorite stories. Not going to lie, Charles.
I love that kid. Let me tell you what. So 1982 summer, the EP had not come out yet. He was working on songs like You Think You're Tough, Sweet Cheater, really early songs, real early songs. And he had just broken up probably within 6 months with Susie. Me and Gwen engaged. I was happy as shit, by the way. I was looking back at that time of my life. Things were pretty damn cool for me in 1982. Let me tell you what. But so I'd shared with you a story. The first time I ever met Robin, I was leaning against the wall at the doorway in the whiskey, and I was doing my job. And he walked up and introduced himself to me. And, he said he'd seen me around, blah, blah. We shook hands. But very quickly in our conversation, I'd asked him, where are you driving from to come here? And he looks at me and he goes, Manhattan Beach. And I said it before. A lot of people told me where they came from all the time. People were like, I came from the Valley. I came from here. I came from, Orange County, whatever, to get to the whiskey. But he was, God, one of the first people who ever said I came from Manhattan Beach because that's where I came from. I lived with my parents. I was 19 fucking years old, and that's where I lived. And he had moved in with his sister down on off 8th Street in Manhattan Beach, very close to the beach. And so I was talking about, I said, you live by 8th Street? I said, I surf at 8th Street. And he goes, well, I surf at 8th Street. So we realized we both surfed. We had done it from an early age. Elementary school, I lived at the beach. Junior high school, I was surfing full on at that point. High school, I was in the water by like 6:30 every morning, and I surfed for first period. That was my life. He lived in La Jolla. He was at that time, he's about a year older than me, but at that time, our lives were kind of parallel. It was interesting because his dad was a college professor. My dad was a high school teacher. They both wrote books. Similar sized family. It was just really weird beach, but he's down in La Jolla. So he's in La Jolla. At that time, he was still surfing, but he wasn't surfing nearly as much as he used to. Because he wanted to be a rock star. Go figure. And so it's Sunday. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. And I cruised by my mom and dad's. I grabbed my new board, and I had a talking about surfing. I don't know if there's any surfers out there. We don't talk about surfing too much, but that was my life for all of my growing up. And he had a Jacobs. He had a Jacobs board. It was about a 7'6". And I had a 7'4" custom ET made by Eddie Talbot. It was badass. It was such a cool surfboard. I was so proud of this board. I actually got to order it, watch it made. I don't know if you guys are familiar with surf shops or not, but there's very few things when you're a kid that are cooler than a surf shop. That's true. I actually got to go into the back and watch Eddie shape my board covered in foam, foam powder from shaving the board and shit, and watch it being glassed. It was badass. It was actually the outside edges were dark green, like hunter green, and the inside was like key lime pie green, with a nice double black stripe down the center. It's fucking
What's up,
nice.
DJ?
A swallowtail. It was a beautiful board. And his Jacobs had a Bing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with boards, but he had what's called a Bing Bonzer on his board. It's a specific type of tail system. Three tails as opposed to one for your skag. Mm-hmm. 3 skags instead of 1. And I can remember loading those fucking boards with him to this day, you guys. It's a trip. I only surfed with him one time. We did it once. And so I pick him up Sunday morning. We load my shit up on. I had this little BMW that I drove. I have a surf rack on top. We load our boards, went down to Manhattan Beach, just what would be south of the pier. Left of the pier around about 8th Street, just down from his sister's. And so the surf was nice. It was a bigger than average. Boner, don't you get me on this, brother. It was a bigger than average day. Around those guys on the bus network.
This is true.
I love you guys. And so anyway, we're out there. We're hitting the waves. Everything is fucking great. It's a beautiful day. And so anyway, I'm out there and I'm paddling to try to catch a wave, and Robin is to my left about 10 feet. He's paddling. He misses the wave. He catches, he's too late. And I come down and I come into it. Now I'm going left because I had to. That's the way I needed to go. It broke left. And he's in my way. I'd have fucking hit him. And so I turned around, I kicked. And I basically did a 180. My right foot, because I surf goofy foot, which means my left foot would be in front of me, even though I'm right-handed, my right foot would be behind me. I pulled my left foot back, and my weight distribution came off the middle of the board to the back of the board, and the wave hit the front of the board. The board smacked me in the face like a gorilla fucking hit me with the board, and didn't knock me unconscious, but split my lip inside off my teeth about a good 1.5 inches, 9 stitches. The board almost broke my nose, and the blood coming off my face was fucking gnarly. All right. So and I took a stomach full of salt water. All right.
Just for the bonus.
Knees at the shoreline, doing what you do when you get salt water. Robin brings me the towel, and a bunch of people are around and shit. And He's talking about my fucking hitting myself. He goes, dude, you should have seen it, man. That board, it smacked you just bam, 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 like that. And I said, dude, man, my face is numb. My face is numb because everything was just fucking numb. It was really fucked up. I didn't know if my nose was broken. I didn't chip any teeth. But he ends up taking me to the South Bay Hospital in Torrance. I go to the emergency room, and because I had to get stitches. My lip was split pretty bad. And so he's on the payphone, not the cell phone. He's on the payphone on the wall in the emergency room. And he's talking to Gwen. He had to call Gwen for me because I couldn't talk, right? And he says, no, man, he called me Chucky Boy. Is what he called me, Chucky Boy. And he said, yeah, Glenn. He said, Chucky Boy. He said, he got smacked in the face by a surfboard. And I can still hear Gwen on the phone. She says, what do you mean smacked in the face? Well, we're at the emergency room. He's telling her, and he's got to get his lips stitched up. And my fiance was flipping out. And I can still hear her screaming on the phone going, what? Is he okay, Robin? Is he okay? And that's one of my fondest memories. After I got the stitches, it's kind of sick because they numb you up. They put a needle in it to numb you up. And I screamed like a little girl, you guys. It really sucked. But he's such a sweet fucking guy. He didn't let me down. He stood by me 100% the whole time I went through that shit. And I will never forget the look on his face. I'll never forget the look on his face when I looked up. I was on my hands and knees at the shoreline. I looked up and I had all that blood, and he's standing there and he's looking me up and down, and the astonishment in his eyes and his face were they're fixed right here on my head, you guys. It's an image and a moment of time of Robin that I will just never forget. He was righteous. He was a righteous dude. And having to see him go through the fucking drugs really sucked. It really did. Yeah. It really did. By about 85, he changed. He wasn't the same guy, you know. He had money. He could go anywhere. He got on a plane.
Well, when you get a different lifestyle, and you're gonna change regardless, because just circumstance will change, but to an extreme. And I know because you're surrounded by handlers and yes men, basically. Yeah,
right? He led a life that none of us really can imagine. You say that you hear about rock stars and this, that, and the other thing. He was the king. Quite literally. Yeah, I miss him. Always will.
Yeah, that's the thing, and there's not, that's why his stories involving him are my fave, Charles, for you, because I've been a fan, but I'm much more of a fan after hearing stories from you, and there's not a lot out there on him other than, at best, you're going to get Stephen Piercy recollecting through his version of events, which is going to be, similar in a Kevin DeBrow way. It's going to somehow reflect him,
Yeah. He's a wonderful soul, guys.
Yeah.
Wonderful soul. And it's a pleasure to get to share these stories with you guys. I love you guys, man. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I appreciate it.
Yeah,
it's a great community we got 69 people here watching. If you haven't already, hit thumbs up. We're going to go a little while longer here, folks. Well, I would say, just people coping in many ways. Like say, Guitar Manufacturer was probably the 80s. There was a lot of people ruined because of those drugs and excess, because there's nobody saying, hey, why don't you slow down a little,
No, it was an interesting learning experience living through the 80s, you guys. If you actually were there and you made it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because if you directly weren't affected personally, you were indirectly affected socially. I mean, it's just the way things were.
I get, I've heard secondhand, having family grown up in that area, I'm pretty sure like my cousin became sober before he was legally allowed to drink. And he's been sober ever since,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he graduated from Hollywood High in the class of 83. So,
Yes.
I have an idea what, growing up in that area was like in many ways. And, he's told me a few stories, and it's just, it was a different time. And yeah.
Very cool, you guys. Anyway, thanks for letting me come on here and run my mouth for a little while. I really enjoy this. I love you guys. Great community. Great community.
Tom Lynn says I was pretty good at affecting myself in the 80s.
Yeah, it's a
I was too young, but the 90s, from what I've been told, I had a good time, Charles, in the 90s.
Don't remember, but you hear all the stories about what you did. That's awesome.
Yeah. I remember, like, literally myself and a buddy, we had an apartment for a couple of years downtown, above a storefront, as one does, small town. And literally, I remember we got rid of that place in spring of 95. I started a job in 2001, Charles, and I'm working at this place a couple of months, and a guy walks by and he goes, "Hey, how you doing?" I have no idea who he was. He's like, "Yeah, went to a party at your place back." And I'm like, "Dude, there was a party every night there for 2 years. Like, I have no idea who you were, But he remembered, and I was, "Oh, okay, sure."
Oh yeah. I'll tell you
What's up,
what,
Paul
man.
McNary?
Paul, what's going
Papa
on,
Blue?
bro? Right on, man. It's good to see you, Papa.
Billy says he was done with drugs for the most part by the early 80s. See, you were smart, Billy. Smart man.
Yeah, it's
and Scott, like myself, he did them all in the early 90s. Yep.
It's interesting looking back at it. Would you do it again if you had the opportunity? Hell no. No, I wouldn't. I learned my lesson. I actually would have risen above it and took a different path. Shit, the 80s were rough. It took me personally just to recover from the 80s took me a decade and a half. It was 2005 before my life was back to normal, to where I could say I'm no longer this or that. It was a rough time, guys, but it's the greatest time too. It was the greatest time. Absolute greatest, bro. Hey, Mark Taft, right on, bro.
Every time I'm hanging out with Mark, he brings you up, Charles. He's like, Charles Greene is just the best. He says, I love Charles.
Mark,
I
know.
How can you not?
Yep. Very cool, Mark. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, and I know I'm surprised he hasn't texted. Usually he'll text me on the side and say, make sure to say hey to Charles for me. And it's like, yeah. And it's like, and when when he's on the Zoom hang with you, on the Water Buffalo meeting, he's like, there he is. I'm like, yep.
I have missed the last two just because they were scheduled at times when I was at work. There was nothing I could do.
This coming Wednesday,
on the way home from work, trying to get here. I hate missing him because it's such a special community.
This Wednesday, really starting at 7 for at least a couple hours. So
yeah.
If you're a channel member or patron this Wednesday, I'll be posting up the link.
But it is so much fun getting to interact with you guys. And I've said it before, the knowledge in that group is unbelievable.
Right?
It's unbelievable. And I feel privileged to get to sit there and partake in it. It's very cool.
Yes. Normally, we do the Water Buffalo meeting the first Saturday of the month, but I'm busy this coming Saturday because I've been invited to take part in a town hall discussion regarding a guitar company that I can't talk about.
Excellent. So when can we see this? When can we?
I don't know what I think I am basically attending more or less in a press way because I've discussed the company before and I believe it's guests and supporters. That was the understanding. So, but I'm not supposed to say. But all I can say is I can't do the thing on Saturday that we normally do the first Saturday of the month. So I'm doing this. But then as soon as I'm able to publicly talk about it, boom, I will be more than happy to.
Good.
And yeah, so
we'll see it.
It was a shock. I happened to check my email yesterday. It was like, hey, if you're around, I'm like, hey, I'll make time. So
very cool. Very cool. Very cool, man.
Josh Tamberg says, so excited to not work tomorrow. That's awesome, Josh.
Oh, dude, enjoy.
I'm hoping to get out tomorrow to shoot some demos.
Man, it has been so hot in North Carolina. I mean, ridiculous.
My cousin's down there right now. He told me, but he goes, fuck mid-May when we're down here, dude. He goes, you do not want to be down here right now. And he's down in Rock Hill right now for the Cornhole World Championship.
That's 20 miles from me.
Exactly. Yeah, he flew into Charlotte Saturday morning, and then he's been down there for the Cornhole World Championships, and so yeah, he's like, this is so hot. And I was like, I know, I'm aware.
It is brutally hot, crazy heat, and we will get some relief in about a month or something like that. Oh,
yes, Tom Lynn, my cousin's part of the broadcast team for the ACL, the American Cornhole League. And their World Championships are this weekend, I guess.
That's a really big deal, man.
He's been involved in the sport for a number of years, and so.
Let me see, Zach Pack. Charlie asked me if I'm Maryland. No, North Carolina. North Carolina, Charlotte.
Chris says it's been in the hundreds in East Texas. Yeah, tell me about it. We've got a few Texans in the chat, and they've all just been. What's cornhole? It's like a beanbag toss game, like with a board with a hole in it.
Yeah, exactly. The board's on slight bias. It's kind of like that kind of an angle.
Fun as hell. Great for all ages and genders. That's one. It's anybody can play, and you can play while still holding a cold snack. That
is the beauty of the game,
right? Cold snack in hands, tossing bags.
Toss in the bag. It's kind of like darts, but with bags, little bean bags, and a whole lot safer when you mix it
Brian and Michael B.
Hey Ryan, what's going on,
Couple of water buffaloes
Michael,
right there.
Good to see you, dude. Good to see you, man.
There's Paint Namer. I'm sporting a fellow basement flood victim. I've fully recovered to just half-inch of water. Oh man, yeah, I do feel your pain. I finally was able to shut down the humidifiers and the fans today. I finally got it where it was less humid downstairs than it was upstairs. So I went, okay, well, that's a win. And it was a beautiful day. One of those days, Charles, where it's breezy, mid-70s. So it actually feels cool because the last few days being in towards 90. So open up all the windows in the house. And just open up all the windows and just air it out, which was awesome.
That's really the secret. Once you get it dry, you've got to get it aired out.
Yeah.
Got to get that dry air in there, man. Humidity it'll kill you. It just ruins everything.
Oh, yeah. Like the other day, I opened up the windows in here to try to help with there to make a cross breeze because, like, I knew, typical basement, it's cool and damp. I'm like, okay. So I open the windows. I come down here half an hour later, Charles. It's 78 degrees and 80% humidity. I'm like, this is not good.
That's horrible. That is horrible.
Because outside it was 85 and 80% humidity. So, yeah.
When I first saw your post, I envisioned you're sitting, what's sitting behind you right now. I thought to myself, I said, oh my gosh, what happened to his gear? And then I saw where you said gear's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Fortunately, literally, the sump pump is kitty corner in the basement, like direct the far end opposite of the corner I'm sitting in right now. So it would take a lot of water. Like it would have to be 4 or 5 inches, I think, in that room before it would reach here.
Yeah, Billy Baloney runs a dehumidifier all summer.
I believe it. Bro. Yep. Yeah, that's my problem. The sump pump just gave up the ghost for whatever reason. And then once I got to turn on, it wouldn't turn off. So Fortunately, there's a Home Depot literally a mile from my house. So
That's just convenient.
yeah. But the weirdest thing is we don't normally have our water table this high this time of year. If anything, like I'm trying to conserve water so the well doesn't run dry. But for the sump pump to even be going off, usually the water table's so much further down. But we just had, it's been almost tropical where it's in the mid 80s, but we've been getting afternoon showers almost daily, or in the evening, showers at night. So it's, stuff's growing like crazy. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, dude. How are the bugs up there? You guys have like mosquito problems and stuff?
All the bugs. It's not too bad here because it's always windy where I am because I don't have any trees to block the wind, which is a good thing because the mosquitoes can't handle wind per se. But after about 8 p.m., you just don't go outside after 8. Forget it. And if you do, don't stand near a light. Oof.
Oh, that's it. That's it. You get swarmed, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy, bro. Ben, it is so nice spending time with you, man. I look at my times with you on your channel as like a little vacation. I always enjoy it when you call me and say, hey, you want to jump in? I absolutely love I love this guy.
Thanks very much, brother. Towards the Ben Coombs clean up my bong fund.
See, that's just caring right there, bro. Nice, Zach. Very cool, brother.
Do appreciate that. And I will be back tomorrow night with Trev and Terry doing live Q&A. And also I'll be doing some virtual busking. So I'll be playing some guitar tomorrow night, taking requests. So feel free to do the tip jar for requests tomorrow night. That always helps, folks. Symmetry says there, he goes, always love it when you join us, Charles. Exactly.
Oh, Trevor, thank you, bro. I love you, man.
Yeah.
You're awesome. Absolutely awesome, brother. Well,
we'll probably wrap things up here because Charles has an early day tomorrow. And
yeah, I'm getting over a cold, you guys.
And he's getting over a cold. Exactly. So we're going to wrap things up. This has been awesome. We will be doing it again. As folks may have noticed, I'm not going to say I'm in a rut, Charles, but I'm getting a little fatigued doing a show for 6 years straight without a week off. So I've narrowed down the guest list to more returning guests and I've have half a dozen people in rotation. So Charles will be back, folks, because he's literally, I'm like, who, so speaking of on the short list, next week, Aaron from Albus Band.
I love it when Aaron comes on. Aaron's
exactly.
Cool as shit. So, I like it.
It's like, you, Charles, Aaron, RJ, Charles 75N, And they're always a fun hang. And however, though, we have coming up in August, if you're into amplifiers and rack gear, I have Michael Torin coming on. Talking about his great collection of stuff.
Is he going to show off a bunch of gear?
Hopefully.
I hope so. That's going to be awesome.
The latest acquisition I heard was, he says to me in the chat, he goes, I picked up an AC30. And I thought, well, if he picked up an AC30, it's got to be the AC30. I'm like, 1963? He's like, yep. Like, oh, you. Yeah.
Whoa, just picked
and because that's the year for the AC30. So.
That is awesome. That is so
cool. On that note, Charles has been Charles. I've been me. Check your sump pumps if you have them, folks. I'm just saying. Always check on the sump pump. Believe me. Oof, you don't want to wake up to that. So have a great night. Happy tone chasing. Hold those doors open. Let Mark Taft in ahead of you in traffic because he shouldn't be driving. Just let him go. He doesn't have a license, is what I'm saying. 6-string Stanger, factory traits. So happy tone chasing. And of course, just don't litter. Just don't.